you should let women cry. I'm speaking to you men out there who are always telling your wives, your daughters, your sisters, your aunts to stop crying. I think this is a big mistake. And in today's video, I will tell you the neuroscience of crying, what exactly happens, what tears are made of, how different parts of the brain are involved in crying, why has it evolved in humans, how essential crying is. And this is coming from someone who, myself, I didn't cry for 25, 30 years of my life straight. And I was so proud of it. And I'll also tell you a little bit later today how my crying has evolved, how what I think of crying now versus 25, 30 years ago. And how my life has changed through crying. So let's start at the very beginning. What is happening in society today? And this is not just for women, this is also for men, right? We are taught that crying is bad, especially men, right? Crying is, don't cry like a little girl. Stop crying like a little baby. And even when babies cry, especially like in airplanes and stuff, people get pissed. Let's start at the root, okay? Let's start with a little bit of brain. When someone is in anxiety, when someone is feeling scared, there's an alarm system that goes off in the brain. And that alarm system is located right here in the amygdala, right here, okay? I'll just take this out for you so you can properly see it right here in the amygdala. And what happens is the amygdala is also the area of the brain in charge of fear, anxiety. And so these alarms these alarms go off, and there's spikes happening in the amygdala, right? Increased activity is happening in the amygdala. Again, right here, as you can see, right here in the limbic system of the brain, the emotional center of the brain. And that causes an increase in cortisol. People get stressed out. And the person who is stressed out, he or she, let's start with girls here. She starts crying, right? Your daughter, your wife. And it doesn't have to be necessarily anxiety or fear. Sometimes girls cry and they don't even know why. There is no reason. Sometimes there are certain circuits in the brain, fear circuit, anxiety circuit, sadness circuit, fear circuit. These circuits in the brain just have to be activated. They have to be triggered somehow. Because these emotions that we've been given, that we've evolved to have, they're here for a reason. So when a woman is crying, that act of crying is extremely beneficial to her brain, to her physiology, to the people around her. Let's get into that next. When someone cries, when a girl cries, cortisol levels in the brain go down. Her stress levels go down. This is the physiological mechanism, the effect of crying. That activity, that crazy activity that was happening right here in the amygdala goes down. Those spikes don't fire as much in the amygdala. Not only that, let's talk about what tears are made of and what they signal to the outside world. tears are made of many components, but I'll talk about the main three that are important for today's discussion. The first one is ACTH. This is a stress hormone. And so that stress hormone is released through the tears. Another chemical in tears is prolactin. Prolactin is the bonding hormone, just like oxytocin is, right? And I'll talk about oxytocin soon, but prolactin increase, there's milk letdown that happens in women who are breastfeeding, right? That happens through prolactin. Prolactin also increases in fatherhood. I'm about to become a father, or we're going to have our baby any day now. And so my prolactin is probably increasing as well, and it will increase even more once the baby is born, right? This decreases testosterone. This makes sure the pair bonds stay, and I'm not out there trying to fuck other girls, right? This dog over here went crazy when the delivery man walked by him, and he's going nuts. Anyway, these dogs are extreme, have an extreme appetite for sexuality as well, right? A lot of dogs have very high testosterone, and they're always trying to fuck, right? So this is what prolactin does. And the third chemical is an opioid, an endogenous opioid, right? You know what opioids are, right? They decrease pain. So there's an endogenous opioid that is in tears, which is released, and that calms down the pain. That takes the pain away. So the next time you tell your wife, or daughter, or sister, or any girl to stop crying, don't do that. And you might ask, why are you even doing this? Well, it's because you are scared. The amygdala inside your brain also gets activated because you are looking at someone crying. And the mirror neuron systems in our brains, when we see someone doing something, it's like as if we were doing it. That's how mirror neurons work. So these mirror neurons go off, and the alarm system in your amygdala goes off. So your amygdala spiking activity is triggered, and it's hyperactive, and you want it to go down. And this is the problem with men, right? This used to be my problem too, and I've improved like crazy, as my wife tells me. We like to fix problems. We like to use our logical, rational part of our brain to make the problems go away, so we don't feel the anxiety, so we don't feel the sadness. And unfortunately, this problem fixing is the problem. The woman does not want you to fix any problem. She wants you to be present with her. So when she's crying, she wants you to make her feel safe. She wants you to make her feel cared for, that she is free to express herself in front of you. If you tell her to stop crying, her cortisol levels will stay high. The alarm system, the amygdala, will stay there. She may stop crying, but that stress is going to keep building up in her brain and one day cause disaster, or worse, some medical conditions, diseases, chronic diseases. So it's very, very good for her to cry right away and to discharge that tension, to release that anxiety, that sadness. And the reason I used to be the problem fixer, or I used to like not even understand this concept, and how I improved, is one shift I made in my brain, one simple shift. And that was, it's not my fault. If my wife is crying, I used to think that I am to blame. Why? Because I thought crying was a bad thing. It isn't. It's a great thing. We have evolved to cry. It's not just us, other animals cry too. One of my buddies, Kareem, in Bangladesh, he told me once that they had a farm and they would slaughter sheep. And he said that the morning of the slaughter, all the sheep were crying. They knew what the hell was about to happen, right? They could feel it. So crying is very important. Now, you might ask, what will happen if you let your woman cry? Well, she will grow a greater bond with you, greater love. Your connection will grow to another level, because then when you let her cry and you're present with her and you're simply there for her, listening, right? And hugging. I mean, all girls love hugs, right? They love hugs and kisses. Hugging her, kissing her, caressing her. She will finally feel that she's free to do what she wants. She's free to be herself with you. She feels safe with you. She feels cared by you unconditionally. Not only if she doesn't cry, but especially if she cries. Now, how did we get here in society, right? Look, the reality is that in history, men used to cry with pride. Achilles cried. I'm rereading the Iliad right now by Homer. I read the Iliad in high school and I was just reading it to get an A, which I did, but I didn't read it for fun and enjoyment and learning. So now I'm reading it for learning. I'm reading a bunch of classics again. And before Iliad, I read the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is like weird, so I left it like 40% in. But Iliad is amazing. Just in book 2 or 3, they talked about, or maybe book 1 even, they talked about how Achilles, the great Greek warrior, wept. He wept. Right? Alexander the Great would cry in front of everyone. Even modern day people like Steve Jobs. I read Steve Jobs' biography. And he would cry at meetings in front of his employees, in front of investors. You would just start crying, hardcore. So for some reason, about 150 years ago, and I'll tell you the reason actually, the Industrial Revolution happened, wars happened, armies happened, soldiers happened. And for whatever reason, we told men not to cry. Crying is for babies. Don't cry like a little girl. Crying is not manly. You're going to be weak if you cry. It wasn't like that before, as I told you. It was considered sophistication, moral seriousness in the Middle Ages, the Greek times, the Roman times. It was considered noble to cry because it showed the world that you are not afraid to express your feelings, that you don't feel insecure about what you're feeling. You're not going to hide your emotions. So, when we have boys around 6 or 7 years old, they're sort of socially conditioned out of crying. And I've seen that in my nephews and kids. I see friends, kids, people in my family. They're all the time saying, don't cry, to girls and boys. It's a terrible, terrible tragedy. So modern day, right, the Industrial Revolution, people getting serious. If we cry, we're going to be vulnerable and it's going to cause us to be defeated in war. Hide your emotions. Stay stoic. This stoic philosophy really fucked us up too. Look, I love Seneca. I love Marcus Aurelius. I love Epictetus. All the Stoics are amazing. Right? We read Seneca all the time. But one beef that I have with Stoic philosophy is that it tells you to not express your feelings, or that your feelings should be hidden, or you shouldn't even feel it. I think it's crap, honestly. I think it's super crap. For one, Seneca never had kids. I know one of his kids died in infancy, sadly, right? But he didn't have kids. He didn't raise a family. So I always take his, even though he's 2,000 years old, his words, and they've survived till now, and he's a badass. I take his words very with a grain of sand, a grain of salt. Okay? So that's what I wanted to tell you today. Please, for the sake of your brain, right? For the sake of your nervous system, even if you think of blood pressure goes down when you're crying. It goes up if you don't cry. It stays up because you have increase in cortisol, your vessels constrict, right? Poor blood flow. When you cry, you vasodilate your vessels again, and you have increased blood flow and decrease in blood pressure. So crying is great. From my side, the last, probably 5-6 years of my life, I've cried. I'm crying more and more. When we watch Bollywood movies here, I cry with my wife. Sometimes I cry and she doesn't. I just have tears coming out, right? If I watch an old scene, there's a movie Lagan I saw maybe a year ago. I saw one of the scenes on YouTube, the last scene when the guy catches it. And I started crying, man. I started like weeping by myself. And it's beautiful. It feels so good to let it out. So I hope to cry more and more over the years. And when I have my daughter, she shouldn't feel that, oh, my dad doesn't love me when I cry, or my dad loves me more if I stop crying. I don't want her to feel that. That's really bad, I think. Okay, that's the video for today. Please send this to your buddies who are telling people to stop crying, or your family. Comment and let me know if you agree, like if you agree with this or not. What I told you about the history, about evolution, about neuroscience, right? Do you agree or not? And if I missed something, or if I didn't explain something clearly, please comment and let me know. If you want me to make other videos that are going to be beneficial, please let me know that as well. I would love to make those videos as long as they align with me and as long as I have knowledge about them. And please share this with your friends and your colleagues and your family. And yeah, that's what I have for you today. Have an amazing day today. Please don't be afraid to cry. Go watch sad movies and cry with your loved ones, with your family. And anytime ever again, if you see someone telling a girl or a boy, hey, stop crying, tell them about this video and tell them what you learn, so they too can embrace crying, and we can hopefully enter once again a world where crying is seen as strength, not a weakness. All right? This is Doc Farhan, and I'll see you in the next video.